Can you create a synthesis of the most important points when learning English that takes 10 minutes to read? Effective ways to study English on your own. Learning English is beneficial for so many reasons, not least because it opens up a whole new market for communicating with. So, whether you decide to learn English for the first time or you realize that the time is now right to improve your English, there are practical tips you can follow to make additional learning via self-study a little more productive. Here are some simple self-study tips for learning English. Read and listen at the same time to improve speaking and writing skill too. When learning English, there are 4 key skills that you need to work on: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. The general consensus is that although you do need to work on these 4 skills independently from time to time, any improvement you make in one skill will have benefits in terms of the others. And if you can practice 2 skills at the same time, then even better. Reading words or hearing the pronunciation of them at the same time has multiple benefits, from getting the correct pronunciation to understanding the correct rhythm of the sentences, as opposed to learning individual words without any combinations, and even improving vocabulary skills. So, how exactly can you do this? Can do you this? The most obvious example would be to watch a movie or TV series in English and watch them with English subtitles on. TED Talks are fantastic, and this particular TED site provides additional learning material for people who are specifically learning another language. Alternatively, you could listen to the song in English and then read the lyrics. Use graded readers to build vocabulary skill. Graded readers are simplified, not necessarily simple, versions of the novel that are written specifically for language learners in mind. Graded readers are available at different levels, starting from 1, which is the easiest, and as well as providing language that is suitable for your level. Many offer additional exercises that test you on your understanding of the text you are reading and help you learn new vocabulary. Not only can you improve your language skill, but you can also do it through the enjoyment and some of this world-based literature. See what your local library has to offer, and of course, check out the extensive list of the ebook option. Listen passively to improve English vocabulary, a listening skill. Every day we listen to things passively, that is, we hear the song and can even be taking them in, but we are not necessarily concentrating entirely on what we are listening to. Think about listening to the radio. Very often we have it on in the background, but we are not paying attention to every song that is playing and every word that it is spoken. But it still leaves an impression, even subconsciously. When learning English, both passive and active listening is important. Active listening would be at the heart of a conversation, responding to what the other person is saying. But passive listening also teaches us plenty, from the rhythm and intonation of English to new vocabulary that we somehow retain for later. So, while you are at home, surround yourself with English as much as possible. Use the wonders of the internet to listen to the radio station in English. Select music to play in English and even have TV channels playing in English. You may be doing something else, but the English that you hear passively is still being absorbed to some extent, which is truly valuable. Join in learning communities to practice talking in English fluently and confidently. Language is meant to be shared with others, so seek out people to speak to. If you are not living in an English speaking country or somewhere where not many people speak English, then try online forums. There you will find people who are in the same boat as you, share experience, ask questions, seek out tips, and above all, communicate. There is nothing like actually communicate to build confidence in speaking whatever language you are learning. And once you have a language learning partner, why not arrange a video call to help gain confidence in speaking even further? Choosing to improve your English skill could just be the best decision you ever make, with communication listed as one the core skill requiring the future workforce as identified by the World Economic Forum. How long does it take to get over a breakup? The good news is I don't do the research for you. The bad news is that you may not like the answer. See, a few years back, a number of publications were touting a study telling their readers that it takes 11 weeks to get over a breakup. That's nearly 3 months spent listening to depressing music while putting a brave face. I may feel longer than it is, but it's only a few swipes of the candle app. No big deal, right? Well, unfortunately, it's not so straightforward. See, those articles drastically misrepresent that study. In fact, the study never say anything about how long it takes to get over a breakup. It only focuses on the after effects on ending a relationship, specifically among undergrads, which is a whole other can of worms. That really answers the question of how long it takes to get over a breakup. You would need to do a longitudinal study, and a study that would basically follow a ton of people from the moment of their breakup and track their progress year after year, just year after year. But studies like that are expensive and complicated to carry out. So, with no adequate data, I decided to seek professional help. I went to a couple therapist, Dr. Hutamir. He has anecdotal experience with countless people in relationship. Disclosure, he was my couples therapist too. So I asked him how long he thinks it takes to get over a breakup. I don't think there is a magic number. If we feel like we can express ourselves in how we're feeling, we don't have to keep it bottled up. Once you're doing other things that you are engaged with and distracted by, then at some point you look back and like, oh yeah, that's my ex, and you notice that the feelings that you have are not as raw. You can bump into each other and not feeling pain. And the data supports Dr. Stemir's theory. One study looked at different strategies for love regulation. In other words, can a few simple methods change how much you love someone? The study found that when participants were distracted into thinking about something other than their ex, like their favorite hobby or ideal career, their love feeling for their ex stayed the same. But it did make them feel more pleasant. Using distraction to start to feel better is exactly what Dr. Tammy has suggested. The study also found that a negative reappraisal strategy, essentially remembering all of the shit things your ex say or did, does decrease love feelings for your ex, but it also makes you feel unpleasant, and I guessing that means sad. Finally, a third more sane strategy known as reprisal of love feeling. For this, participants had to muse over the statement like love is part of life and it's okay to love someone I'm no longer with. Yeah, that changed nothing at all for them. In general, the researchers concluded, and I'm not using the scientific language here, that concentrating on the bad things about your ex can help you to feel less in love, while distracting yourself with other subjects, as my therapist suggested, can actually make you feel better. However, the researchers and Dr. Temi would both tell you that while distraction is good in the short term, it is not a long-term solution. Taking the time to process and understand it is actually a much quicker way to heal than ignoring it.